I'm Mara Ellison, 31 years old, and I used to think trust was something you declared out loud to make it true. Jace Rivera, 29, charming, earnest in curated doses, made trust a performance. The lighting was always flattering, the captions always landed just right, and on an ordinary Tuesday night, his performance got the headline he'd been waiting to deliver. We were on the couch, the TV was murmuring. Jace's phone, face up at first, kept stuttering with notifications, quick flashes of text that made him smile a fraction too long. He called them client pings and gym stuff, the kind of everyday noise you're supposed to ignore in a modern relationship if you don't want to be labeled paranoid. I wasn't looking for anything. I was just there, next to him, with the bowl of popcorn between us, letting the credits of some docuseries flicker over the room. He got up to grab water. The phone buzzed again. A preview bloomed across the glass like a secret surfaced. Can't wait for Thursday night, baby. Daria, trainer Daria, the one he swore was strictly professional and borderline scary about boundaries. My stomach didn't drop. It locked. He came back sipping from a glass, and I realized my face had told on me. "What's wrong?" he asked, the two words tilted like he already knew. "Your phone lit up," I said evenly. A message from Daria about Thursday night. His expression didn't harden into guilt. It went smooth and cold, the face of a man stepping onto a stage. "Were you looking at my phone, Mara?" "It was face up," I said. The notification preview showed. He reached, took it, held it to his chest like it had become a relic. "This," he said, shaping the moment, "is exactly the toxic insecurity Daria and I were talking about today. Women who need to check their boyfriend's phone, that's control." I didn't check anything. The words felt too reasonable in the charged air. I saw what flashed, and it said baby. He inhaled like I'd proven his thesis. Then, with a flourish so polished I could hear the imaginary applause, he opened Instagram, typed, and turned the screen to me. "Women who check their boyfriend's phone are toxic and insecure. If you don't trust, leave. Period." He tagged his location. He tagged his best friend, Melissa. He hit post. Within seconds. Preach. Say it louder. Boundaries. Stacking like coins. I watched him bask in the righteousness he'd manufactured, and I felt a quiet thing inside me step back from the edge. "Let me see your phone then," I said softly, "if there's nothing to hide." He laughed. Actually laughed. "That's not how trust works. The fact you're asking is the problem." "So you can post about toxic women," I said, "but won't show me your messages with Daria, the trainer, who calls you baby?" "You're being paranoid," he said, tone soothing now. "This is why I need space to think about us." Space. A word that sounded like mercy, but felt like eviction. That night, he said he was going to Melissa's to cool off and reset. He packed light. He left righteous. He forgot one thing, the iPad. It was still on our coffee table, its silver back catching the TV glow, still logged into everything, still syncing. I wasn't planning to snoop, I truly wasn't, but the device pulsed to life on its own with the first message, then the second, then a cascade. Daria Jimenez, the thread that looked like a fuse already lit. Their sessions had been running for 3 months. Gym time that bled into car time. Thursday night, their standing date, scheduled precisely when he knew I was at my book club. Antonia, a woman from his office. Flirtation snared in the teeth of logistics. The thread turned raw around the time of the company holiday party. The same night I was home with food poisoning, texting him goodnight from the bathroom floor. Tessa, the ex-girlfriend he called unhinged and controlling. Their messages swerved from nostalgia to explicit in a breath. The newest exchange included photos, my photos, ones I had taken of him on our anniversary weekend. He'd forwarded them to Tessa 2 days ago with a caption that made my skin go cold. I didn't cry. Not then. I documented. My fingers were steady as I screenshotted, labeled, and tucked each image into a folder named with the date and time. Not because I wanted to be cruel, because I knew how this would go if I didn't hold the line. He'd deny, he'd invert, he'd turn the conversation into my alleged invasion of privacy until the truth drowned under the spectacle. The only antidote to gaslight is daylight. I already had Gloria and Robert's numbers. Jace's parents adored me. "You're the best thing that's happened to him," Gloria would say in a tone that made me blush and brace in the same heartbeat. Robert joked about future grandkids. I smiled and said we were nowhere near that, not because I didn't want a family someday, but because I could feel how much of Jace's love was a set he built and struck between scenes. Before I sent anything, I waited. The door might swing open. He might come back contrite. He might say the truth out loud before the truth had to speak for itself. Instead, an hour later, he texted, "Need more time. Don't spiral. We'll talk tomorrow." He added a heart. It landed like a sticker on shattered glass. Morning ran itself by muscle memory. Coffee, shower, hair twisted into a clip. I was buttoning my blouse when the front door clicked. Jace stood there, fresh-shaved, in the soft blue shirt I'd once called his honest color. He'd come costumed as humility. "Baby," he began, hands open, face soft. "I overreacted. I love you. When I feel controlled, I panic. Maybe we can work through your trust issues together." "Couples therapy?" I asked, not because it was on the table, but to measure how far he'd go to avoid the plain sentence waiting in the doorway with him. He nodded, hopeful. "Exactly. I want to do the work." "You're right," I said. "I have trust issues." I let those words sit, heavy and true for entirely different reasons than he imagined. Then, kindly, "Can I see your phone?" just to put my mind at ease. He hesitated for one beat, and then handed it over like a man performing bravery under stage lights. "See? Growth." I opened Instagram first. His post about toxic women was flowering with applause. I liked it. I commented, "You're absolutely right." His smile flickered with triumph. Then I opened messages. Daria's thread was gone. Antonia's thread was gone. Tessa's thread had been bleached to silence. "All clean," I said, handing it back. He exhaled, relieved. "See? Nothing to worry about. You were spiraling." "Totally," I said. "I'm sorry I doubted you." He kissed my cheek, coffee warm. "I have to run to the gym. Daria's got a new program for me." He paused at the door. "Thursday night still your book club?" "Yeah," I said. "Why?" "Just planning," he said, and left smiling. When the latch clicked, the room exhaled with me. I opened my laptop. The email was measured and spare. Subject: a concern about Jace. "Hi, Gloria. Hi, Robert. I'm sorry to bring this to you, but I think it's better you hear it from me. I discovered that Jace has been seeing multiple women. I have evidence and wanted to share it privately before this becomes public or messy. I know this is shocking. It was for me, too. Mara." I attached everything. Timestamps, the explicit messages with Daria and Antonia, the recent exchange with Tessa, the screenshot of his public post about toxic women, bearing a timestamp minutes after I'd asked calmly about a message that literally said baby. I hit send. I wasn't done. The Rivera family. WhatsApp group. Gloria, Robert, Katie, Miguel, several aunts, a cousin chorus, was mostly birthdays and potlucks and baby pictures. I typed, "Hi everyone. I wanted you to know that Jace and I are no longer together. I discovered he's been unfaithful with multiple partners. I've already informed Gloria and Robert privately with evidence. I wish Jace well, but I can't continue the relationship." I hit send and placed my phone face down. 7 minutes. That's how long it took for the first tremor to hit. My screen lit like a city at night. A call from Gloria pinged through and ended. A second later, Jace's name flooded my display. "What did you do?" he shouted the moment I answered. "Exactly what you suggested," I said, my voice steady. "I didn't check your phone. I didn't need to. Your iPad was on our coffee table, logged in, and the messages kept popping up." "That's still snooping," he snapped. "It's psychotic, Mara. You violated my privacy." "Like Daria violated our relationship in her car?" The silence that followed was the first honest sound he'd made in 24 hours. "You had no right to tell my family," he tried again, smaller now. "Why? Women who check phones are toxic, but men who sleep with 3 different women while living with their girlfriend are, what, empowered? Private?" "I'm coming to get my stuff." "It's already packed," I said, on the porch. "You can't just—" "I already did." He hung up. The group chat didn't. Katie. "Jace, what is wrong with you? Mom is crying." Aunt Lila. "I always knew the selfies were compensating for something." Robert. "Mara, I'm so sorry, kiddo. You didn't deserve this." Gloria. "Jace Anthony Rivera. Call me, now." I opened Instagram out of a kind of morbid curiosity. Jace's post was mutating in real time. The comments, once a choir of preach, had begun to fracture. Katie had replied beneath it, "This aged well. Maybe women check phones because you're calling your trainer baby." A friend of Jace's, Paul, added a neutral emoji, then deleted it. The algorithm loves drama. It would keep loving this. I closed the app. I stood in the quiet apartment where last week I'd reheated leftovers and laughed at a bad movie with a man I thought I could keep choosing. The air felt thinner, but also clearer. The truth has a way of cracking open windows you didn't know were painted shut. Somewhere across town, Jace was trying to put out a fire with perfume. I opened my notebook and wrote 2 things. 1, hold the line. 2, don't let him script you. The doorbell rang. I didn't jump. I already knew what was waiting on the porch. When the world ends, it doesn't explode. It pings. A family group chat, a dozen notifications per second, each one another piece of the Rivera family trying to rearrange itself around a truth they never wanted to see. Gloria's first message wasn't even to me. It was to Jace. We raised you better than this. Then another. Come home. We need to talk. I stayed still, watching as digital chaos bloomed. Katie, his sister, wrote paragraphs, long, blistering paragraphs, about how she had defended him for years. Miguel, his brother, sent only 1 line. You humiliated the family. Then silence for a few minutes. The kind of silence that feels like a collective breath before the next tremor. And there it was, Jace's private number, lighting up my screen again. Mara, you had no right, he snapped. You think this makes you look noble? You look unhinged. You could have just left. I did leave, I said quietly. I just didn't leave the truth behind. That was private, he hissed, between us. So were you and Daria and Antonia and Tessa? His breath hitched. Then came the whisper, brittle with panic. You don't know what you've started. I didn't start anything, Jace, I said. You did. He hung up. By afternoon, the wildfire had crossed platforms. Instagram, where he'd declared me toxic, had turned against him. Gloria's friends, his cousins, even a few of his gym clients had started commenting beneath his post. Men who cheat are insecure. Boundaries don't cover betrayal. Daria? Seriously? The likes had stopped climbing. The comments were now a graveyard of receipts. That evening, Gloria called me herself. Her voice trembled at first, but not from anger. Mara, she said softly, I just want you to know, we believe you. We saw everything. I don't understand how my son could do this. I wish I didn't either, I said, holding back a tear. Thank you for being honest, she said. Most women would have hidden it, pretended. I tried pretending once, I told her. It nearly cost me who I am. There was a pause, the kind filled with heartbreak and clarity. Then she said it, the thing that would echo later. He's about to learn that reputation and character are not the same. That night, Jace showed up at my apartment. Not with flowers, not with tears, just with calculation. He stood outside my door, perfectly dressed, the kind of calm he used to weaponize when he wanted to rewrite history. Can we talk? He said. I think we've talked enough. Mara, please, this got out of control. You embarrassed me in front of my family. You embarrassed yourself. He exhaled hard. Do you even care what this does to me? My clients are messaging me. Daria's furious. You've ruined my career. I didn't ruin it, I said. You did. 3 women ago. His eyes flared. You always twist things. Always need to be the victim. And you always need to be the hero, I said, even in your own downfall. He stepped closer. If you don't retract what you sent, if you don't tell them you exaggerated, this gets legal. Legal? I echoed, almost laughing. You want to sue me for telling the truth? You defamed me. I have screenshots, timestamps, names, and your voice on audio saying you needed space to think about us. He froze. You recorded me? You trained me, I said quietly, to keep receipts. He swallowed, glancing away, the first flicker of genuine fear crossing his face. Then, desperate, Mara, please, if you love me. I did, I said. That's why I let you lie as long as I did. He turned, muttered something under his breath, and left. The hallway smelled like his cologne and cowardice. The next morning, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Yo, this is Antonio, the voice said, low and irritated. I said nothing. Whatever's going on, you need to take that stuff down. You're messing with people's lives. You mean your affair getting exposed? I asked. That's not what this is about. My wife's furious. She thinks You did. He inhaled sharply. You think you're righteous, but you just made yourself look crazy. None of us will work with you again. I don't need to work with you, I said, and ended the call. Minutes later, another ping, different number. Daria. Her voice was sharp, venom-laced. You think you can humiliate me publicly because your boyfriend couldn't keep it in his pants? I didn't post your name, I said calmly. You didn't have to. People talk. My clients are canceling sessions. Maybe they don't want to share equipment with someone who shares boyfriends. Her voice cracked into a snarl. You don't know who you're messing with. Oh, I do, I said. 3 of you, actually. She hung up, but the silence that followed wasn't peace. It was the kind that comes before fallout. By noon, the family chat was a battlefield of guilt and fury. Katie. He's blaming Mara, saying she hacked him. Miguel. Classic. He's never owned a mistake in his life. Aunt Lila. Someone tell Daria her Instagram stories are still public. Gloria. This family will not cover up wrongdoing again. The word again lingered. I wondered if Jace's behavior wasn't as new to them as they pretended. Then Gloria called again. I'm sorry to involve you further, she said, but Jace has threatened to sue you. I know, I said. He told me himself. We've spoken to a lawyer, she continued. He doesn't have a case. The truth isn't defamation. Her voice steadied. But Mara, this may get ugly before it gets quiet. I expected that, I said. Good, she replied, because we're not backing down this time. That night, I sat alone at my desk, rereading the screenshots I had once dreaded seeing. Each message, each timestamp, each fake apology, all of it lined up like puzzle pieces spelling one final word. Freedom. I wrote in my notebook again. Hold the line. Don't let him rewrite this. Truth doesn't apologize. Outside, rain began tapping on the window pane. Soft, rhythmic, cleansing. My phone lit up one last time before midnight. Katie. You did the right thing. It's about time someone stopped protecting him. For the first time since the explosion, I allowed myself to smile. Justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, steady and patient, while the lies collapse under their own noise. The first letter came in a neat white envelope, hand-delivered to my door by a courier who looked uncomfortable. Inside, a printed statement from Jace's attorney, full of words like defamation, reputational harm, emotional distress. The irony almost made me laugh. This was the same man who once said, Mara, don't make everything dramatic. Now he was literally drafting a drama of his own. I called my cousin Laura, a corporate attorney who specialized in crisis control. She skimmed the letter over speakerphone and burst out laughing halfway through. He's suing you, she said, for sending his family proof that he cheated on you? Apparently, yes. This will be dismissed so fast it'll create wind, she said. Don't even blink. But of course, Jace didn't want justice. He wanted control. He wanted me to sweat, to flinch, to beg him to stop so he could reclaim the narrative he'd lost. Instead, I brewed tea, opened my laptop, and archived the email chain neatly into a folder titled Rivera versus Reality. 3 days later, Jace went online. He couldn't resist. He posted a black and white selfie with a caption dripping in pseudo-enlightenment. Healing from betrayal isn't about hate, it's about boundaries. Some people only love you when they can control you. His followers, mostly gym clients and lifestyle bloggers, flooded the comments with sympathy. Preach King. Stay strong. Toxic women can't handle accountability. But beneath all that noise, a quieter thread began forming. People who knew. One commenter wrote, Boundaries? You mean with Daria, Antonia, or Tessa? The replies multiplied, receipts resurfaced, screenshots shared. By midnight, the entire post was deleted. He texted me the next morning. Jace, you think you won because you humiliated me? You didn't. I'm rebuilding. Me. Good. Try building on honesty this time, Jace. You're cruel. Me. Truth feels cruel when you've spent your life lying. He didn't reply again. Instead, he pivoted, tried a new tactic. That week, my coworkers started getting strange messages from fake accounts. Claims that I was abusive, that I had leaked private images, that I was obsessed with revenge. It took one call from our HR department for me to piece it together. Each fake account used variations of the same phrasing Jace had texted me before. He wasn't even creative enough to hide his fingerprints. Laura helped me file a harassment notice and document everything. We didn't need to fight back. We just needed to wait. Then came the fallout. Daria's fitness studio posted a notice on Instagram. Effective immediately, Daria Jimenez will no longer be employed at Rivera Performance Gym. Rumor had it the owner found the explicit texts circulating among clients. Antonia, the office affair, didn't fare better. Her company's HR discovered her messages through an internal complaint. Both she and Jace were reprimanded. Antonia's contract was terminated. Tessa, the ex-girlfriend, reactivated her account just long enough to post a quote. Some men destroy everything they touch, then call it therapy. And just like that, the triad of lies began turning on itself. Meanwhile, the Rivera family splintered down the middle. Gloria stopped defending her son publicly, but started attending counseling privately. Robert grew cold, barely speaking to Jace at all. One night, Gloria called me again. "I wish I could say this surprises me," she said quietly, "but it doesn't. Jace has always bent the truth." "What do you mean?" "There was another girl before you," she admitted. "A fiancé, years ago. He cheated then, too. We covered for him, said it was a misunderstanding." Her voice cracked. We didn't want to believe he was capable of it again. Silence stretched between us. She wasn't just mourning her son's downfall. She was mourning the part of herself that had protected his lies. "Thank you for telling me," I said. "Maybe now he'll have to face who he really is." By midweek, the lawsuit was officially dismissed. The judge's comment became a screenshot passed quietly between family members. Plaintiff seeks damages for sharing truthful information. Case dismissed with prejudice. When I read it, I didn't cheer. I didn't even smile. I just breathed, deeply, for the first time in months. Jace, however, spiraled harder. He started showing up at familiar places, my favorite cafe, the grocery store near my building, always coincidentally. One afternoon, he even approached me in line, voice low and brittle. "You think you're safe because you won?" "I don't think," I said. "I know." "You'll never find anyone better than me," he snapped. I tilted my head. "You're probably right. I'm not looking for better. I'm looking for different." He left before I could say more. Then came the headline I hadn't expected. Local trainer fired after client misconduct allegations. The article didn't name him directly, but everyone knew. Underneath, a single comment from an anonymous account. "Maybe women should check phones more often." For once, the internet got something right. That evening, I met Felix. He wasn't part of the chaos. Just a quiet man at the corner cafe, sketching something in a notebook. He looked up as I ordered, smiled faintly, and said, "Long day." "You could say that." He chuckled. "You have that look of someone who's survived an emotional earthquake and still made it to coffee." I smiled for real this time. Something like that. We talked until the lights dimmed. No pretending. No games. Just silence that didn't feel heavy. When I left, he said softly, "Whoever made you doubt your worth must have been blind." And for the first time, the compliment didn't make me flinch. Later that night, as I scrolled through my photos, I saw the old screenshots. Daria, Antonia, Tessa. I deleted them all, one by one. Not to erase the past, but to free myself from carrying it. I opened my notebook and wrote, "When truth finally speaks, lies don't die, they echo, but they lose their power." Then I closed it, and for the first time in a long time, I slept through the night. 4 months. That's how long it took for everything to settle. Not neatly, but enough that the echoes finally started to fade. By then, Jace's name had become more of a cautionary tale than a headline. Every time I heard it, it came with a tone. Disbelief, exhaustion, or quiet pity. He'd tried to rebuild, of course. The self-help posts returned. This time, they carried captions like, "Learning to love myself after betrayal," and "Boundaries are sacred." His new girlfriend, Mira, according to his tagged photos, appeared in gym selfies, smiling too brightly, as if trying to convince the world she was safe. The first time I saw them together in my feed, my chest tightened. Not with jealousy, but with déjà vu. That was how I used to look beside him. Proud, oblivious, rehearsed. I didn't follow their lives, but life has a way of showing you what it wants you to see. One morning, a message slid into my inbox. From Mira. "Hi, I know this might be awkward, but I wanted to ask. Were you and Jace together last year?" My fingers hovered over the keyboard. Then I typed, "Yes. Why?" A minute later, her reply came. "Because he told me you were abusive and crazy. But something about his stories doesn't add up. Do you still have proof?" I stared at the blinking cursor. For a second, I thought about sending everything, every screenshot, every file, every line of evidence that could save her months of heartache. But then I remembered what freedom had cost me. "I don't have them anymore," I wrote. "But trust your instincts. If you're asking, you already know." She didn't reply. But 2 days later, Jace's Instagram went private again. Meanwhile, the Rivera family was healing. Slowly, awkwardly, but genuinely. Gloria sent me a Christmas card with a handwritten note. "You'll always be part of this family. Thank you for telling the truth when we didn't want to hear it." Robert added a postscript. "Next time you're in town, dinner's on us. And don't worry, Jace won't be there." Katie texted me photos of her new puppy. She'd named him Morrow. half a joke, half a tribute. Miguel invited me to his wedding. I went, nervous but smiling, and when Gloria hugged me, it felt like closure in motion. Across the room, someone whispered, "Isn't that the girl who exposed Jace?" Gloria turned sharply and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Yes, the one who told the truth." The silence that followed wasn't uncomfortable, it was respectful. A few months later, life gave me something I hadn't expected: calm. I moved into a new apartment, small, bright, filled with morning light and the sound of the city waking up. Felix became a steady presence. We never rushed, never tiptoed. There were no passwords to hide, no posts to prove anything. One night, he handed me his phone without prompting. "Can you cue the playlist?" he said. It was such a simple act, but I froze. He noticed, smiled softly, and added, "You don't have to." "I trust you," I said, realizing it was true. "I just forgot what that feels like." He squeezed my hand, then remember it, slowly. Life wasn't cinematic anymore. It was ordinary, and that was the miracle. Morning coffee, evening walks, laughter that didn't echo against broken walls. Still, the world has a sense of irony. One Saturday, while shopping for groceries, I turned a corner and nearly collided with Jace. He was holding a basket, Mira trailing behind, eyes down. He smiled too wide, that same performance I used to fall for. "Mara," he said, "wow, you look good." "So do you," I replied. "Instagram filters working overtime?" His laugh faltered. Mira looked up, curious. "Who's this?" He hesitated. "Just an ex." I nodded politely. "Don't worry, Mira. I'm not the one you need to worry about." Her brows furrowed. Jace's grip on the basket tightened. I walked away, leaving him standing in the produce aisle, still trying to manage the optics. Later that week, Felix and I sat at the cafe where we'd first met. He told me about a new art exhibit he wanted to take me to. I told him I was writing again. Nothing grand, just essays about truth and perception. "You should," he said. "You tell stories that sound like warnings but end like prayers." I smiled. Maybe that's all I've ever wanted to do. He reached across the table, brushing his thumb against my wrist. "To truth," he said. "To peace," I replied. That night, curiosity got the better of me. I searched Jace's name one last time. The infamous post, "Women who check their boyfriend's phone are toxic and insecure," was still online. Only now, the comments had evolved. "This aged like milk. Boundaries don't mean lies. Check the phone, ladies. Sometimes the truth is hiding in plain sight." Someone had even turned it into a meme. A split image. On one side, the quote. On the other, a screenshot of my old message thread with his family that had quietly leaked months later. Underneath the caption, "Gaslighting defeated." I didn't laugh. I just closed the screen, whispered a quiet prayer of gratitude, and deleted his name for good. Because healing isn't about revenge. It's about finally being able to walk past the wreckage without looking back. As I turned off the lights and crawled into bed beside Felix, the city hummed outside. Steady, alive, mercifully indifferent. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't waiting for the next explosion. I was simply breathing in peace.